You've tuned into Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes. Your access to success strategies and more to help you move onward and upward with your life. Listen in each week as she interviews others who have really taken their essence to the next level and truly unpaused their life. Now here's your host, Dr. Cali Estes.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Cali Estes, and I am founder of the Addictions Academy, the Addictions Coach, and Rehab Rescue. Welcome to Unpause Your Life. This is a great podcast where we showcase people who have done something extraordinary with their life. I welcome you, and I hope you enjoy all of our guests.
On my way, found a reason to wake up another day.
Before we get started, let's hear this short message from one of my supporters.
All the things that you won't do.
Did you know 81% of Americans would like to become a published author? Chances are you might be one of them. What's stopping you? Writing and publishing a book takes a lot of work and is expensive, right? Well, not anymore. For your next book project, or even your first, team up with Hassle-Free Books. They make it so easy to become an author. They remove all of the fuss and struggle and make it smooth and simple. And it's far more affordable than you could ever imagine. Go to hasslefreebooks.com and use promo code UNPAUSE to receive a 10% discount off of any book project. Get started right away and become a published author in as little as 45 days. For your free 1-hour book formula guide, which will show you just how painless it can be to become an author, head to hasslefreebooks.com today.
All right. Thanks again for joining me. Let's get started with today's show.
Took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of...
Welcome to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes, the Addictions Coach and the Addictions Academy. My guest today is a professional BMX athlete. Josh Perry transcends gravity for a living, completing death-defying tricks with ease. However, Josh's bravery goes far beyond his work on the track. He has survived multiple brain tumors and after open brain surgery was back training 5 weeks later. That's amazing. At 21 years old, during intensive training, Josh Perry suffered a head injury that caused him to get an MRI, and he was hit with devastating news. The doctors found a brain tumor that was 8 centimeters long, 4 centimeters deep, and 2 centimeters wide. Upon being diagnosed, Josh turned what was a negatively life-threatening situation into a positive one. He ensures that BMX has saved his life, and he's been able to see the world because of what he does on his own bike. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here today.
Sure. So let's start with BMX. What was that like? That sounds like a really intense, death-defying sport. I see the videos on YouTube. Think to myself, never in a million years would I do that. Tell me about that.
I grew up playing the traditional sports in school. Little League and basketball were my two favorites. And I got introduced to rollerblading and skateboarding, and then learned that you could ride bikes at the skate park. So, I've been on a bike since I can remember. And it caught my interest, and then it came the freedom of travel, freedom of expression. And at the end of the day, it ended up being what I became passionate about. And it was just all the different aspects of it, but also me being able to express myself and do what I loved on my own terms and take it to that level because I wanted to. So like you said, it's a very dangerous sport, and we learn along the way. When we fall down, we get up and try again, but we also wear the helmets and the safety gear. And now I'm an advocate of wearing mouth guards for the reduced risk of concussions and things like that. So it turned from an interest to a hobby to a passion and a lifestyle. And it's brought me so much positivity in my life.
That's a lifestyle, all right. I've got a friend who, I don't know if you know Kevin Schaefer of Sick Recovery. He trains guys on BMX and racing, and it drives me crazy because he'll call me and he'll be like, oh, this one's in the hospital, that one's in the hospital. I'm like, wow, just crazy. Like the stuff you guys can do, it's insane.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we try not to focus too much on the injury part and the risk part, but like with anything in life, risk is there and injuries do happen. So we do what we can to protect ourselves. And that's why I'm a big advocate as well of nutrition and fitness and everything that it does for our performance on our bike and off our bike, and to allow us to have more fun, have fun longer, and to reduce the risk of injury.
Awesome. So tell me how you ended up with a head injury and finding out about this brain tumor. How did that happen?
Well, it had been about a year. I had been going into the urgent care and ER and, complaining of these migraines, these headaches, getting to the point where I was nauseous, throwing up, blurred vision, and actually going to eye doctors because I was convinced I was going blind. The eye doctor confirmed, but I wasn't. But it took a fall at March of 2010 where I fell, hit my head, got a concussion, and then, prior to that, I was getting denied MRIs, and I was ignorant to it, but I was like, I think there's something more going on than just headaches. I think we should get a CAT scan, an MRI, an X-ray, whatever it needs. And they kept saying, no, here's some pain pills. Just go home, take these. If it keeps going on, come back and get some more. But it's a normal part of many people's lives today. And that just didn't sit well with me. So, the pain pills don't do well with my system either. And the one time it was so severe that I did finally take some, it was the one and only time I've ever projectile vomited, which happened to be in the car on the way home. So that was a fun experience. But it took that fall in March to actually, you hit your head. First thing, let's get you an MRI. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think much of it. But that MRI, I'll never forget, the doctor came back and, I was like, so there's no swelling, there's no bleeding. You did suffer a slight concussion, but, there's also something in your brain that shouldn't be there. And at this point, we don't know if it's benign or cancerous, but there is a mass. It is fairly large and it's a brain tumor. And the only way to tell is to get a biopsy. But if you want a chance at living, it needs to be taken out. And then right then and there, like, people talk about out of body experiences. That was the first time I'd ever experienced that. And it was like I was watching a movie of like a horror film of my life. And it was just a very crazy experience.
Wow. So what was that like? So you were how old?
I had just turned 21 in November prior to that. So I was just 4 months into being 21.
Oh,
and it was a year after I rode X for the first time. I'd been competing professionally about 4 years now. I was living in Greenville, North Carolina, training with Dave Muir and the other professionals I looked up to. And my world was just shattered.
Wow. So you underwent the surgery then, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So they said the only way to have a chance at living is take it out. Because if not, it's just a matter of time until you don't wake up one day or you suffer to the point where you don't wake up one day. And so I did some research, and an hour and a half west at the time when I was living in Greenville, I now live in Raleigh, which is an hour and a half west, but there was Duke University, and Dr. Alan Friedman was said to be one of the top in the world at neurosurgery. I had a consultation with him about a week, I think, later, and he actually removed a patient or two from his upcoming schedule to fit me in because the tumor was so severe and so large and residing on my optic nerve, which led to, it gave me clarity on why I was going blind, but also was on a main artery. So he got me in there April 16th of 2010. So it was just shy of a month later, he fit me in.
Wow. So what was that like? What is brain surgery like? I have no frame of reference for that. So tell me what that is like.
So first, not many people do have that experience. So you go, oh, wow, okay, this is going to be crazy. I may not wake up. The list of complications I had to sign off on were endless. And who do you go to, like that? Hey, have you had your head cut open? No. Okay, cool. So for me, instantly Lance Armstrong's story stood out. So I read his book, and that helped so much. On top of, support from anyone, friends and family, of course, and then the BMX community, anyone, whether they knew me or not, reached out to, let me know they're thinking of me, and that helped tremendous. But being told you're gonna have a surgery on your brain and have your head cut open, it's pretty crazy. But I'm the interested type to where I was looking up, I first was thinking of, I think it was Saw 4 and that scene where he actually cuts the dude's head.
God, yeah.
I went and watched that. I looked on YouTube videos. I was doing all the research because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what I was getting into.
Right.
So, I do a little bit of that, and surprisingly, I don't freak myself out. I just am curious. But the process of it, it started out with, they laid me on a table and they're like, all right, so we have to go in and manually, fuse one of your arteries off so, you don't bleed to death while we're doing the surgery. They went up with a microscopic camera and laser and went up through my groin and a vein there, and it followed all the way up to my brain. And when they told me that, I was like, man, this is getting real and this is crazy. And so that was just the beginning. And then they give you, the paperwork and then the meds to start sedating you, and you say bye to your loved ones, and you just start, thinking, and you're just like, all right, this is crazy. And it was like a moment in that process where fear just went out the window, and it was just like, this is my only option. So I can't be afraid. I just, visualize what I want to do, the life I've created, the life I've worked for. And I wasn't even thinking about living anymore. I was just like so determined to ride again. Yeah. So it's just very surreal.
Wow. So how did you feel when you woke up? Were you like, damn, I did it. Here I am. Or what was your first thought when you woke up?
First thoughts were, okay, I can see, I can hear, I can move. So I'm not paralyzed. This is great. I'm alive. And the first time in about a year, I wasn't in consistent pain. Whether it was severe or minor, I had been in pain, headaches, and it was from all the pressure over the last year. And so it was actually supposed to be a 4.5-hour surgery, but because of those complications of the artery and the optic nerve, it took 6 hours. And I remember meeting my surgeon. We got reintroduced 5 years later at an event they had, and he was spot on. He remembered me and my surgery, and because of BMX, his resident that was in there, he was mentioning, we can't rush, we can't hit that nerve, we can't do this and that because this guy needs his feet, his hands. Not that no one does, but he was like, this guy does backflips for a living, we can't ruin that. So it was just pretty cool. But yeah, it was an amazing feeling to wake up and see the people I cared about most, and to be moving and not in pain. And it was an awesome feeling.
Awesome. So then that, I'm assuming, is what prompted you to found the Josh Perry Foundation, correct?
No. So that was one of the pieces, but that was 2010. And just another funny note on the waking up experience. I had a catheter in, and I don't know many people that have had that experience, but I initially, had to pee. And I was telling my mom, I was like, yeah, Mom, I got to get up, I got to pee. She's like, no, don't worry about it, just go. I was like, no, I can't, I'm in bed. And I will never forget, she told me, and I looked down, and like they had to stop me because I started pulling it out. I was still, on all the medications and the drugs and all that, and I tried to pull it out, but that's pretty funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the first step, and I was riding, like you said, 5 or 6 weeks later, I started getting back in the motion, started competing in England, 2000. So that was 2010.
Wait
April,
a second.
I think July. 5
weeks, you have major brain surgery, and 5 weeks later, you're on a bike competing. That's insane.
Not competing. I was getting back into it, but I was riding. Yeah. And when they told me, you're having brain surgery, I instantly thought, oh, there's a year recovery.
Yeah.
But then they told me later on, the bone takes 4 weeks to fuse back together. And we like to take a week, we'll get that MRI, make sure it checked out, fused, great, 4 titanium screws and all. Like, yeah, just give it another week, just ease back into it. So I started just cruising around 5 weeks, riding the ramp, had all the pads on the helmet and just feeling it out. And then it was 10 to 11 weeks. I was at my first pro contest again and placed top 10. And that was in England. So
that's insane.
10 or 11 weeks. Yeah, it was definitely a pleasant surprise.
Now, was your mother following you around with bumper pads? Because if you were my son, I'd be following you around going, don't do that. Be careful. Don't hurt yourself. Or was she just like, go for it?
Yeah, no, she, from the beginning, she's been my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, from lugging me around the car to different events and contests around the country to sitting out there, embarrassing me in her bikini in the, the bathing chair out in the sun, just let me ride all day. But yeah, she's been great. So it's especially when she was around the BMX community and saw that it was a family, and that the support I had, what it did for my life, it's been what's the vehicle to show me the world. My dream was to be in the NBA when I was younger. If I stuck with that with my height and skill, I don't think that would have been possible. But all the positivity that BMX has brought me, and the foundation of getting up, trying again, accepting failure for not failure, but a learning lesson, and then the strength it's given me. So she knew, if it was something I wanted to do, she wasn't gonna be able to stop me, and that it was so positive that she just supported me. And of course, be careful, take your time, don't rush. But at the end of the day, she was 100% for it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. But my grandmother, on the other hand, is a different story. She's petrified. She won't watch me in person. She'll watch videos in person.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So what happened next? So you're back on the bike, you're starting to ride, and then what? What happens next?
Yep. So I'm back in the motions. I'm traveling different countries, doing demos, contests, and filming videos, doing interviews, being able to share my story in BMX. And then we're in India in September of 2012, and a routine scan before I went I got the news while I was gone, revealed that the complication of that tumor being on the main artery, they weren't able to get 100% of the cells, and that 2 areas had come back, and they said that it was about the size of a blueberry smaller each, but one in the front and one in the rear of the brain. And the surgeon said, I was like, should I come home? I got 2 days left. Should I fly home? He was like, no, there's no immediate risk, compared to the original tumor size, there's nothing. But we get home, let's get you in, let's get another scan, let's just, get them checked out, and we'll go from there. But he suggested a form of radiation, and or he just suggested radiation in general. And again, at the time, my ignorance just scared the living hell out of me. I was like, no, like that sounds so bad, and took to Google, and a couple hours later learned about a technology called gamma knife radio treatment. And first thing that came to mind was he said no surgery, and it had knife in it. And so I was like, I don't know about this, but did some more research and learned that it's non-invasive. You don't really feel anything once I went through it. It's like an MRI, but without the sound. You just lie there in and out a couple of times for the different treatments. And it's just a form of 180 degrees of different radiation bolts, and they can pinpoint the location to treat on a computer. So it's so precise, and the success rates were amazing. And it just made me feel so comfortable that so many people were outpatient procedure, were back to their normal day to day the next day, and with the results. So I went through that at Tufts Medical Center in Boston in November 26, I want to say, 2012. And, moving forward from then, we just monitored it every 6 months. Then we moved to year increments, and they've been shrinking until this past February, actually. And they were like stabilized, which is what they want right off the get-go. But bonus for me, they shrunk. So amazing news. And then this scan this February also revealed 2 new tumors on the right side of my brain. They think it's because of a genetic disease called NF2, or neurofibromatosis. And it happens just to be meningioma layers of the brain and spinal cord. Luckily for me, I don't have spinal cord tumors, but it's just a genetic kink that gets passed down I think it jumps a couple of generations. And the only way to tell is a biopsy, but I'm the healthiest, strongest, and I'm so much more well off than any time in my life. So I don't want the risk. But that being said, all those experiences, and then what's led me to new passions along the way with holistic health, with nutrition, fitness, and your mindset, meditation. I was trying to think of a way of, how I can give back, because I see myself in such a fortunate position now. Some people say, that's crazy. You live with 4 brain tumors. You've had the surgery. It's got to be so terrible. The worst thing ever happened. And to me, there is no good or bad. It's all a matter of how you perceive things and how you want to move forward, because you can let something cripple you and become a victim, or you can let it strengthen you and you can give back to others. So that's where I came up with the idea for the Josh Perry Foundation, a way to combine what I've learned about taking care of my body and my mind, and then using BMX as like the engaging vehicle, if you will, to attract the attention, especially the younger generation, to let them know about these important lifestyle factors and choices that we have every day. So that way they don't have to have, something catastrophic happen to them or a loved one for them to, click for them like it did for me. So that's kind of how that came to fruition.
That's awesome. Now you're also doing holistic health coaching, correct?
Yeah, so that's another passion of mine. Like I said, is sharing, and I can coach any age. So right now I got a group of some corporate clients that we're going through the program, and it's just amazing to be able to see people, take to my story and get them to inspire the change. And the program that I have built is called Be the Change That You Want to See. And to me, it's just, you can't change the world until you change yourself. So just being able to coach people with this nutrition and lifestyle and mental habits is just an amazing thing to be able to give back.
That's awesome. So how can people find you? Let's say someone wants to hire you as a health coach or nutrition coach. Where do they find you?
So all my social media platforms and my website, I just keep it simple, and it's just Josh Perry BMX, joshperrybmx.com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all at Josh Perry BMX, and I'm super engaging all those. I respond to any comment as quickly as I can, the DMs. Try to give a day or two to respond because those build up. But I'm really active on all those, and I love interacting with people and have a conversation and then go from there.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for coming on the show. You've given us some really good information, lots of relevant things, and a great way for people to contact you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and it's great to talk with you, and I appreciate you allowing me to share my story.
Sure. And you've been listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes. Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. Head on over to iTunes and Apple Podcasts and leave a comment or review of what you think. Or contact us at 1-800-706-0318. If you want to be on our show, feel free to email or call. And if you have a topic, feel free to email or call as well.
Thanks for listening to Unpause Your Life. For show notes and more, head on over to unpauseyourlife.com.
Big shout out to recoveryinnovators.com for help producing this show. Thank you guys.
I took a walk down the long road where they said that I shouldn't go. On my way found a reason to wake up another day. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape in love with my pain. I may be weak, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To believe. I took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the day